No woman will ever resist you after using these 5 magic words. Old Stoic wisdom. Welcome back to the channel, gentlemen. Today, I want to speak directly to the man who has spent years doing everything right. The man who bought the flowers, booked the romantic dinners, sent thoughtful texts, and still found himself ghosted, ignored, or emotionally sidelined. If that's you, listen closely. Because what I'm about to share might just be the turning point in your entire understanding of attraction. It's not your fault that no one taught you this earlier. Most men have been conditioned to believe that winning a woman's heart is about the grind, about constantly doing more, proving more, giving more. But here's the truth that most never realize until it's too late. Women are not drawn to effort. They're drawn to energy. More specifically, to the energy you evoke through presence, words, and the emotions you stir deep within her. This is ancient knowledge, rooted in both timeless wisdom and Stoic insight, which tells us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, as Seneca once said. In other words, what creates attraction isn't what you do, it's what you allow her to feel. That's where today's message becomes powerful, because once you understand these 5 magic words and how they trigger the right emotional states in a woman, you'll no longer feel the need to chase. Instead, she'll lean in, intrigued and magnetized by your presence. This isn't manipulation, this is mastery. So let's dive deep into the emotional blueprint that makes a woman feel genuinely drawn to you. A sequence of 4 core emotional responses that, once understood, will make you unforgettable to her spirit. First is the challenge. And this may very well be the most misunderstood principle in the dating world. The modern man has been taught to be overly available, always agreeable, and instantly responsive, believing that this displays interest and care. But while your intention may be pure, the effect is often the opposite. Constant availability removes any sense of pursuit or value. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. To always be available, to always agree, is not only untrue to your own nature, it's uninteresting to hers. A man who challenges her subtly, who sets boundaries, who says no with poise, instead of apologizing for having standards, that man becomes a mirror to her desire for depth. You see, women are not looking for resistance, they're looking for reason. When you become the man who values himself enough to say, I don't give my time easily, you become the reward she wants to earn, not the comfort she takes for granted. This is where the first magic word comes into play. Maybe. Not a yes, not a number, but a powerful maybe, delivered calmly and with intent, sparks a woman's innate drive for curiosity and engagement. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about being a man who knows his worth and doesn't give it away cheaply. Real-life advice here is simple. When she makes a demand or a request, don't rush to fulfill it. Instead, pause, consider, and respond with confidence. A simple, maybe, let me think on that, can trigger more intrigue than 1,000 immediate yeses. 2. Intimacy. Next, we arrive at intimacy, and this goes far beyond candlelit dinners and romantic gestures. True intimacy is about presence. It's about listening with the kind of stillness that makes her feel like the only woman in the world. Epictetus, a great Stoic philosopher, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." And in that quote lies the secret to intimacy. In a distracted world full of scrolling thumbs and split-second attention spans, the man who listens, who truly sees her, is the man who becomes unforgettable. He hears the details others miss, remembers the way her eyes flicker when she talks about childhood dreams, and picks up on the emotions she never says aloud. The magic word here is tell. When you ask her to tell me more, it opens the floodgates of emotional connection. This is not a surface-level question. It's a soul-level invitation, real-life advice. Put down your phone. Look her in the eye. Let her know, even in silence, that she is not being judged or evaluated. she is being understood. Most women don't crave perfection. They crave presence. If you can give her even 10 minutes of full attention, undistracted and undivided, you've given her something more valuable than any gift, the feeling of being emotionally safe. 3. Tension. Now let's talk about tension, the third emotional pillar. Tension is often misinterpreted as discomfort, but in the realm of attraction, it is the electricity that keeps the connection alive. Think about the greatest movie scenes, the moment before the first kiss, the seconds before the truth is revealed. Those pauses are soaked in tension, and that's what makes them unforgettable. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable, said Seneca. This applies not just to enduring pain or difficulty, but to mastering the emotional dance of attraction. Most men try to remove all friction, seeking peace and harmony at every turn, but this creates a flat line of predictability. Tension, when used wisely, builds emotional heat. The man who lets silence hang for just a moment longer, who delays gratification, who holds her gaze without flinching, he becomes the flame she cannot look away from. The magic word here is wait. Say it not as a command, but as a slow-burning whisper that tells her you are not in a rush. Wait for it. Wait till you see, or let's wait a bit longer. These phrases create space for anticipation to bloom, and anticipation is the heartbeat of passion. In real life, resist the urge to instantly gratify every moment. Don't always rush to kiss her, touch her, or validate her. Let the space between your actions carry the weight of emotion. 4. Ambiguity. Then comes ambiguity, the final and perhaps most seductive emotion. We live in a world addicted to clarity and closure, but when it comes to attraction, mystery is not only compelling, it is necessary. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it, said Epictetus. When you reveal everything too soon, your intentions, your plans, your full emotional playbook, you remove all tension and reduce the adventure to a transaction. A man with layers, with depth still unspoken, becomes a puzzle worth solving. Women don't fall in love with information. They fall in love with possibility. The magic word here is guess. Not because she should figure you out, but because leaving space for her imagination invites her to play a part in the story. Guess what I was thinking today? Guess what I noticed about you? These are phrases that spark engagement without force. They make her lean in, not just physically, but emotionally. Real life advice. You don't need to spill your entire history or every intention on the first date. Keep some cards close. Share enough to connect, but not enough to predict. Let your story unfold like a great novel, not a social media bio. So, what are the 5 magic words? They are maybe, tell, wait, guess, and one final word that ties them all together. Feel. When you say, I feel like there's more to you, or I feel we're just getting started, you're not just speaking. You're awakening something ancient within her. You're moving from logic to emotion, from conversation to connection. These words, spoken with calm confidence and grounded presence, align with the deepest teachings of Stoic mastery, controlling your emotions, mastering your delivery, and letting your energy, not your effort, do the heavy lifting. When you speak like this, you don't need tricks. You don't need to chase. She begins to feel something real, and that's what keeps her coming back, not because you forced it, but because she felt it. Remember, no woman will ever truly resist the man who makes her feel seen, valued, and emotionally stimulated without needing to impress or overcompensate. True attraction flows when a man is still within himself, when his words are calm, deliberate, and rooted in intention. That's the power of ancient Stoic wisdom applied to modern relationships. You don't need to chase women. You need to become the kind of man whose presence is felt before he even speaks. The man whose words, those 5 simple yet strategic words, resonate long after the conversation ends. If this message hit home for you, I invite you to reflect on which of these emotional triggers you've ignored or misunderstood in your life. Which word do you think you've used the least? And how might using it today transform your next interaction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your perspective. Let's build a community of men who speak with intention, who connect with clarity, and who live with emotional power. If you found value here, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, gentlemen, attraction isn't earned through action, it's awakened through emotion. And now you hold the keys. Now, let's get into the 5 magic words that will win over any girl. 1. No. There is undeniable strength in a man who is unafraid to say no. While most men hesitate, fearing rejection or disapproval, the man who asserts his boundaries sets himself apart. Women are drawn to confidence. Nothing communicates self-respect more clearly than a man who knows his value and refuses to compromise it. Saying no is not about being difficult. It's about defining what you will and will not accept. It signals that your time, energy, and attention are not freely given to just anyone. When a man embraces this mindset, he shifts from ordinary to intriguing, from predictable to desirable. Most men operate from a place of scarcity. They believe that to attract a woman, they must accommodate her every whim and make themselves endlessly available. But this backfires. Women are not drawn to men who offer themselves up too quickly, but to men who set standards and create mystery. A man who says, "No, let's talk first," instead of instantly buying a drink, flips the dynamic. He is no longer just another guy. He becomes a man of value. Or if a woman frequently asks for favors, he might say, "I'd love to see you, but I'm not free to do that right now." No excuses, no over-explaining. That calm certainty shifts the power dynamic and makes her more attracted. Remember this, a man who cannot say no is already saying yes to a life of regret. Comment, "I walk with power" if you know that no is now your ally. 2. Sexy. Power is not always loud. Sometimes it's in a whisper. Sometimes it's in the way you say something unexpected, playful, confident, charged with just enough energy to flip the emotional current in your favor. Sexy is not about vulgarity. It's not about being sleazy. It's about owning the emotional atmosphere and bending it with a smile. When most men compliment a woman, they follow the script. Nice dress, pretty eyes, you look good. Boring, predictable, forgotten. But the man who learns how to use the word sexy strategically, playfully, unpredictably, becomes unforgettable. Try saying, "You've got a sexy mind," or "That was a sexy comeback," or, with a wink, "You have a sexy elbow." You're not validating her, you're leading the dance. You're not chasing approval, you're making her laugh, think, and feel. And here's the kicker. Women remember the men who made them feel somethings. When she feels sexy in your presence, she connects that energy to you. Suddenly, you're not just another guy. You're the one who awakened something. You're the one who brought heat without being creepy. This is charm with precision. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." It takes bravery to flirt without neediness. It takes courage to tease without attachment. It takes mastery to use the word sexy with finesse. This is not about physical validation. It's about emotional orchestration. Most men don't understand the psychological trigger here. When you say sexy in a clever, casual way, you bypass her defenses and enter her memory. It's imprinting. It's pattern interrupt. It's influence. So next time you talk, don't be stiff. Be sharp. Make her feel something. Then walk away like you own the moment. Comment, "I create magnetic moments," if you understand that sexy is now a tool in your arsenal. 3. Trouble. The moment you call a woman trouble, something ancient awakens in her. It's the word of the rogue, the charmer, the man who's seen things and isn't afraid to stir the pot. It's teasing, but beneath the surface, it's electric. It's dangerous in all the right ways. You say it with a smile, a smirk, a look that says, "I see you." When she says something witty, when she pushes back, when she shows that spark, you say, "You're trouble, aren't you?" And boom, a portal opens. Now you're no longer two strangers talking, you're co-creating a story. Trouble creates a private label, an inside joke. It makes her feel special. It frames her as wild, unpredictable, exciting. And women want to feel that way around a man. But here's the deeper layer. When you say she's trouble, you're saying you can handle her, that you're not intimidated, that you're the man who can dance with fire without flinching. In this world, most men fear feminine chaos, but the Stoic doesn't. The Stoic flows through it. He smiles at it, he frames it, and then he leads. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. She may be trouble, but you're composed, you're in control, and that's what makes her come closer. Don't be afraid to say, 'I knew you were trouble the moment I saw you.' Watch what happens next." She leans in, she laughs, she engages. The game is yours. Comment, "I thrive in the fire," if you now understand how to make her feel like the wild thing she wants to be with you. 4. Little. There is nothing more attractive than polarity, masculine and feminine, presence and softness, strength and surrender. The word little triggers that polarity in the most powerful way. When you say it, you're not belittling her, you're anchoring the contrast. You're reminding her subtly that she's feminine and you're masculine, that she can soften because you are steady, that she can be small because you are vast. When she kicks off her shoes and looks up at you, smile and say, "You look so little right now." Watch her melt. It's not about size, it's about energy. It's about inviting her into that safe space of being seen, protected, and adored. And when she boasts about being strong or fierce, you say with a grin, "You're too little for that." It's not mocking, it's magnetic. It's the paradox. She knows she's capable, but with you, she doesn't have to prove it. That's the gift. You give her the freedom to relax her armor. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that mastery allows her to rest. Your groundedness creates room for her softness. This is not domination, it's chemistry. When you say little, you create contrast, and contrast creates desire. Most men try to impress women with their achievements, but the wise man understands. It's not about what you do, it's about how you make her feel. Make her feel small in the best way, and she will never forget you. Comment, "I embody polarity," if you know this is the energy she's been craving. 5. Friend. Now here's the masterstroke, the word that bends minds, flips expectations, and makes her question everything. Friend. Used correctly, this is the most seductive word in your vocabulary. Why? Because it creates uncertainty, it creates tension, it creates the question in her mind. Wait, are we just friends? Reverse psychology at its finest. When you say, "You're such a cool friend," or "I should introduce you to someone," you ignite the chase. She begins to wonder where she stands. She begins to invest. She begins to lean in, not because you're pursuing her, but because you've blurred the line just enough to intrigue her. This is where the average man fails. He shows his cards too soon. He declares his intentions too early. But you stay playful. You stay unpredictable. You keep the dynamic fluid. And that mystery makes you magnetic. Say, "Are we friends or something more? You're confusing me." Say it with a smile. Let it hang in the air. You're not rejecting her, you're pulling her in. Women chase what they can't fully define. Seneca said, "It is part of the cure to wish to be cured." When you label her as a friend, you become the cure she didn't know she was looking for. You become the storm behind the stillness. And that's when the real magic happens. Comment, "I am the mystery she can't resist," if you now understand how to make her crave clarity from you. Now that you know the 5 magic words, no, sexy, trouble, little, friend, you no longer walk blindly through attraction. You walk like a man who understands psychology, polarity, and presence. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer submit, you lead. Use these words not as tricks, but as tools. Use them with strength. Use them with timing. Use them with the confidence of a man who knows he is enough. Every moment you speak, you shape the energy. Every word you drop, You leave an imprint, and now you know which words make her feel, laugh, lean in, and fall. Share this video with another man who needs to wake up and step into his power. Like, comment, and subscribe. Then comment below, "No woman can resist the man I am becoming." Final thoughts? Number. Let's be real, this is where your life begins to shift. This is the moment you stop being the man who wonders why women lose interest, and you become the man they can't stop thinking about. You see, attraction, real, lasting, magnetic attraction, has nothing to do with chasing. It has nothing to do with proving your worth. It has nothing to do with games, gimmicks, or tricks. It's about presence. It's about understanding the ancient, timeless truths of human psychology that most modern men are too distracted or too weak to learn. You're not most men. That's why you're here. The Stoics believed in power through mastery of the self. And if you want to command the attention of a woman without ever raising your voice or lowering your standards, then it begins with your language. The words you choose are either weapons or chains. Most men are slaves to their words, talking too much, over-explaining, trying too hard. But the man who speaks with clarity, with brevity, with purpose, that man, he owns the room. He controls the energy. He draws people in without lifting a finger. And that's where the 5 magic words come in. They're simple, short, but they hit like thunder. Number: sexy, trouble, little, friend. Each one of these words, when used with intent, taps directly into a woman's subconscious. No is the word of power. When you say no, you're showing you have standards, you have boundaries, and you will not tolerate nonsense. That alone makes you stand out, because most men, let's be honest, fold the minute they sense discomfort. You won't. You say sexy, not to objectify, but to amplify the energy. You say it because confidence is sexy and recognizing beauty is bold. You say trouble and suddenly everything changes. Now she's wondering, what does he see in me? What does he mean? You create mystery, tension, curiosity. You spark the chase. You say little, and in that moment she feels smaller, in a playful way. It's not about control, it's about creating contrast. Masculine strength invites feminine surrender. And finally, you say friend, and now she's completely off balance. You've given her attraction and safety in the same sentence. You've confused her in the best way, because now she wants to know more. Now she's invested. But listen carefully. These aren't just words, they are reflections of who you are. They only work when you mean them. They only carry weight when they come from a man who knows his own worth. And if you don't know your worth, don't expect her to either. That's the truth. Harsh? Maybe. But it's better than you wasting another year wondering why she lost interest, wondering why she never texted back, wondering why you keep ending up in the same place with the same outcome. Stop wondering, start becoming. As the great Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. These 5 words, they aren't tricks, they're tools. Tools used by men who've done the inner work, men who walk into a room and change the air, men who don't chase validation because they know exactly who they are. In today's world, where men are told to be soft, agreeable, and silent, you must become the opposite. Calm, grounded, relentlessly confident, a walking paradox. Soft-spoken, but sharp. Kind, but immovable. Caring, but completely in control. So let me ask you directly, have you used any of these 5 words before, even by accident? Did you notice how the energy shifted? Did you see the change in her eyes? That's not luck. That's power. That's leverage. And I want you to own it. Share your story below. Let the world know what worked, what didn't, and what you're still learning. This is not just about attraction, it's about becoming the kind of man who naturally commands it. And if this message hits something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because this is not entertainment. This is your evolution. And I'm not here to give you fluff. I'm here to give you fire. Don't just be another man scrolling through life. Be the man who speaks with impact. Be the man who walks into a room, says one sentence, and everyone listens. That starts today. That starts now. Comment this below if you're ready to rise. I speak with precision. I lead with strength. I am the man who cannot be ignored. That's your declaration. That's your line in the sand. And from this point forward, you don't shrink. You don't chase. You don't explain. You lead. You become. Because in the end, no woman can resist a man who carries himself like a king, even in silence. You don't need permission to be powerful. You only need to decide. So decide now. Decide to speak less, but say more. Decide to walk slower, but move with purpose. Decide to stop trying to impress and start impacting. That's what makes you unforgettable. That's what makes her come closer. That's what separates the ordinary man from the man whose presence she will never forget. The choice is yours. Power is yours. Make your move. And before we bring this to a close, I want to take a real moment to speak directly to you, not just as someone delivering a message, but as a man who respects your time, your attention, and your journey. Because if you're still here, that means you're different. You're not passive. You're not drifting through life, hoping things change. No, you're locked in. You're hungry. You're awake. You're the kind of man who wants more from himself, from his relationships, from his purpose. And that alone sets you apart from the millions of men who never ask the deeper questions, who never take a single step toward the man they were truly meant to become. So thank you for showing up, for listening, for being present. I don't take that lightly. In a world full of cheap entertainment, fake gurus, and mindless scrolling, you made a choice to sit in the fire, to hear the truth raw and unfiltered. And that tells me everything I need to know about your character. You're not afraid of challenge. You're not afraid of work. You're not afraid of becoming powerful, even if that means leaving behind old habits, old beliefs, or old versions of yourself. That's rare. That's noble. That's what leadership looks like. This isn't just a video. This is part of a movement for men who refuse to be average, a brotherhood of warriors who are learning how to walk through life with purpose, with strength, and with clarity. And let me tell you, this journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. And the fact that you're here, absorbing every word, tells me you're in it for real. You're not chasing tricks or tactics. You're here for transformation, and that makes you dangerous in the best possible way. So again, I thank you, not just for clicking, not just for watching, but for committing. Because every time you show up, every time you listen with intention, every time you apply what you've learned, you are planting the seeds for a life that no one can take from you. A life of power, a life of respect, a life of silent dominance. And I want you to know this. I see you. I see the fire in your soul. I see the man you're becoming. And I'm honored to walk beside you as a guide, as a voice, and as a fellow man who's fought through the fire too. So stay with me. Stick around. Because we're going deeper, we're going harder, and we're going all the way. If this resonated, if something clicked inside you today, don't let it fade. Lock it in. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Reinforce your standard. This isn't just a conversation. This is your blueprint. And this channel, this message, this voice, it'll be here to keep sharpening you, to keep challenging you, to keep reminding you of who you truly are. So like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below that says, I'm locked in, I'm rising, I'm becoming unstoppable. Let that be your public declaration. Let that be your moment of ownership, because this is just the beginning. And I promise you this, you stay with me, and I'll keep showing up for you every step of the way. The world needs more men like you. And you were born for more. Let's go get it.